I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out righteousness. So now here, what's going on with George Santos? Lion George. Lion George Santos done told another lie. He said that there was somebody tried to assassinate him. I thought, when he was in what was it, down in Brazil, Argentina? Where was he at? Brazil? Brazil, yeah. I think that he, that's where he played, that's where he was doing all that drag. He was playing Qatari down there. He was a drag queen down in Brazil. He was in his late teens or early 20s. He said somebody tried to assassinate him. I think you only rate, somebody can murder, somebody can whack you, somebody can knock, kill you. But they only assassinated important people. Santos was not, unless he, thought being a drag queen was important. Anyway, he's now saying he was not a drag queen, though we have his pictures. The engineer found several pictures of Santos in drag, several pictures of him. And they said it wasn't him. But you have to understand something about Santos, that he just lies. And he has no conscience about lies. Even though the pictures that everybody found, they were posted up everywhere. Santos in drag. But it said it wasn't him, that it was somebody else. But I heard him on the news the other day. He speaks fluent Spanish. That's one thing that he doesn't lie, that he does do. He speaks fluent Spanish. And he said that somebody tried to assassinate him while he was down in South America. I'm not sure why anyone would want to assassinate somebody like Santos. Now it is being reported, I don't know if y'all heard it recently, I've heard about it. Now first it was reported that he was a multimillionaire. He was making a lot of money selling ships and antiques and things that rich people wanted to load off. He had a Devolver, a business called the Devolver Associates, and he made several $1 million, and then he loaned himself $700,000 to run his campaign. But here he is in drag. I'll ask you tell me, is that George Santos or is that somebody? Who is that? Is that you I know the Santos on the right with the big dark glasses on. But the person, by the way, what is it with drag anyway? What I'm trying my best to understand, dress up as a woman. Okay, all right, so you think you're a woman, so you want to put on a woman's clothes. Okay, all right, so that's not rocket science. I can figure that out. But now, leave that there, Mr. Now drag queen drag queen, George Santos, says that he didn't loan himself the $700,000, but somebody gave him $500,000. Now, you have to be very careful, because now he's put himself in a position where somebody giving you $500,000 run your campaign, that's illegal. They can only give you maybe, probably $200,000 as a maximum for your campaign. So the boy might end up going to jail. I'll tell you what they tried to do. They tried to end this foreclosure thing. By the way, I want to spend more time with my young people, the old, and everybody. I want to spend time with everybody in the church, but this foreclosure thing, they got me running back and forth in court every week. So they tried to jam me up and get in what they call a deposition. They tried to jam me and wanted me to sit down. They wanted me to. They scheduled me to testify for 8 hours about the ministry, about what we do, and this on a deposition. What they were looking for is a way to try to jam me and protect the Mellon Bank, because I told you I'm going after them. I told y'all that, right? Now, I'm still after the Lion George drag queen Santos, but I thought I want to put this in. So they wanted to do a deposition of me and have 7 lawyers sit there and answer me. They do that on television. You've probably seen it on television. And have these 7 lawyers answer me questions. We'd take a break for lunch. That's what they plan to do. I got out of it. Brilliantly, I got out of it. I'll tell you how I got out of it once some other things have passed, but I got out of it because they wanted to nail me. If they had sat me down for that deposition, that would have been the end of all of us. But they're going to set George Santos down for a deposition. Pretty soon, the ethics committee is going to set him down for a deposition. And, he's going to lie in the deposition. He's not going to tell the truth. He's going to lie in the deposition when they do say, because that's what George Santos does. And George Santos realizes this, that his vote is gold. Kevin McCarthy needs George Santos more than he needs Frank Luntz to live at Frank Luntz's house at night or whenever they have their weekends together. Kind of remind me of that boy, J. Edgar Hoover. You know the guy who used to run the FBI? J. Edgar Hoover. He was always had this one man, they'd have lunch together. They were always hanging out at lunch together. J. Edgar Hoover. So J. Edgar Hoover, who was the head of the FBI, it's alleged that he was gay, and he had this gay friend. A lifetime. They were 30 years having lunch, going there, and so one day J. Edgar Hoover wrote Dr. Martin Luther King a letter, said, we got a tape of you and the bed springs and the woman which you went in the bed. And if you don't kill yourself, as is alleged what was said, if you don't kill yourself within 24 hours, we're going to release this tape to the world. Anyway, at the same time, J. Edgar Hoover was sleeping with a man. That's what's alleged. Let me get back to this whole business about George Santos, though, and the Lion George drag queen Santos. That he realizes that Kevin McCarthy is probably not going to call the ethics committee, because if George Santos is kicked out of Congress, they'll have to have a runoff. That means a Democrat will win. If George Santos, Kevin McCarthy only has a 4-point majority right now. That's razor thin. If he loses Santos, he only got a 3-point majority. And if the Republican, if the Democrat becomes the congressman, then he only got a 2-point majority. So Kevin McCarthy is going to keep obfuscating, going to act like he don't know George Santos did wrong. He ain't going to do nothing. And you can understand how vital that is. And George Santos, though he's lying drag queen George, he's obviously not stupid. He's just a liar. He's obviously not stupid. He understands he got power. And he ran a campaign. He convinced, by the way, George Santos didn't run his campaign in some willy-nilly bodunk district. George Santos ran his campaign in Great Neck, New York, among some of the most richest, powerful, influential Jews in New York. The ones that don't live in New York City, don't live on Park Avenue, that don't live on the East Side, live out there in Great Neck. It's a beautiful community just off the Throgsnakes Bridge, just off the Parkway out there, Belt Parkway. And, you can see Manhattan from it. Great Neck is a beautiful little enclave, but beautiful. And the way it's set up, you don't get a lot of riffraff. The reason why I know is because I tried to burglarize in Great Neck when I was doing my jewel thief thing, and I couldn't get into it. It's tight getting into Great Neck. And then if you get jammed out there as a jewel thief, how you going to get out unless you swim across the bay? So I never did anything in Great Neck. So Pastor Manning, why'd you bring that up? Because I want to be authentic. I want to tell you what it's like. I want to tell you that George Santos was able to con those very well-meaning Jews out there to vote for him. They ticked off now. They are ticked off at the fact that they got played by, and then the other thing, the Santos boy said his grandmother was a Jew, that she escaped the Holocaust. What a lie. But you start talking about Jews about the Holocaust, they all listen. They listen. You talk about the Holocaust, the Jewish people will listen to you. And rightly so, But he said he lied to them. And they are insulted. And they ought to be. They are insulted that he used something as sacred as the Holocaust and the death of millions of Jews so he could get their support. Because the moment he said, and then the other thing, George Santos is a dog killer too. When he killed that dog, when he took that $3,000 and that dog died, he changed his name to some sort of Jewish name. He said, because if you put Jew, your last name as a Jew on the GoFundMe program, a lot of Jews will give you money. So there is George Santos, everybody. Lion George, drag queen, dog killer, George Santos. Well, me. I'm James Ibbott Manning, everybody. I'm the Lord's servant. Don't go anywhere. I'll be right back. By the way,